So we are in Parashat Noach. This week, by the way, this is all for Leilui Nishmat Shabbatai Ben Flora Kohen, my godfather. Most amazing man, and just the opposite of what we're going to talk about now. So these words are for Leilui Nishmat Shabbatai Ben Flora Kohen, and so is the Kugels and the Chulent. And those of you that are not here are missing out. Also, for the success of our operatives, codename Karen and Mike, and a great yeshakuach and shout out to Mark, who just moved to Miami. So, yeah. All right, so, very bizarre parasha. Everybody talks about Noach, they always talk about Parashat Noach, talk about the Teva, the birds, the this. Let's move somewhere else today. Very crazy thing that happens is the Tower of Babel. Babel, also known as Babylon, and we always used to make fun of that because if you take the Long Island Railroad, the train to Babylon always stops at Jamaica. If you know what I mean. You're going to trench down Babylon. We are the small X to come to take out the toll, yeah. Anyway, Bob Marley, you should listen and look into the guy. So before we all gonna jump Nayabingi, let's talk about Migdal Bavel. Very bizarre thing. Why is that? So let me first of all start with according to the mystical aspect of the Migdal Bavel. What they want to do, everybody agrees that they want to rebel against God. But how could you rebel against God by building a tower? The answer is very simple. According to Kabbalah, they wanted to create a structure in which would gather all the spiritual energy of the people, and that would direct it to counter, God and His might. So they thought in their heads, and that's how they would be rebelling. Which is, of course, a very interesting concept. But I'm going to use today specifically the words of Rav Steinbruch from Sefer Ta'am Vadat. And he writes it was really that the Mefarshim, our sages, were really contemplating on the fact, what exactly they wanted to do by building a tower. How can you fight against God? I mean, by building buildings, it doesn't do it. And it says that it seems like Nimrod, the king, wanted to be the ruler of the world. And since he saw that there are many nations, and he cannot control those many nations, he decided to build a big tower, a tall tower, and to show everybody how great his achievements are. And to show everybody how great of a ruler he is, what a great builder he is, and how much does he do, and so on and so forth, and that the act of man is just like the act of God. What do I mean by that? I mean that I'm getting hot here, and let me just take my jacket off. So, is the AC on? Yeah. So, it means God created heaven and earth, right? So is Nimrod is going to create a building, an apparatus that also connects heaven and earth. I mean, if you stand at the Freedom Tower where the Twin Tower used to be, unfortunately, we forgot about the Twin Towers already. Yes, I know, we allowed half of the Muslim world to come into America, but yeah, we forgot about that. The Twin Towers were tall, but the single tower, it was amazing that they built a single tower. And if you look at it, it sure does look, it's, touching the sky. I think I told you, that the first time that I came to New York, I came to meet my future in-laws. And my wife had a Corvette. She drove a Corvette. It's a gorgeous Corvette, chocolate color. I love that car. And the Corvette had a, you know, like a, not a moonroof, it was like a clear roof that you could actually see through. And I remember looking at the, we're going to Jersey, and I was looking down, I was saying, so that's the Empire State Building. I mean, it did look like the building that King Kong climbed on. I wasn't impressed. And every time I look at tall buildings, I really want to get impressed. It doesn't impress me at all. I don't know, for whatever, it doesn't do anything to me. And as such, I never climbed up to the top, I mean, went to the top of any of this, and look, it doesn't do anything to me. I would like to see mountains. Even a small mountain, that thrills me. Buildings don't do anything to me. So they wanted to show a person like this. And so, okay, so what's the intent? So you're building something great, you're doing, but to bring, his desire was to bring the whole entire world to be kofar b'kadosh baruch hu, in order to become a heretic against God. To see, God is not so mighty. God is not the ruler of the world. Here, look what we had done. It sounds many times like something that our politicians do. And the greater they're showing off their actions, the more heresy is there in our society. I mean, look at this. Now they want to do an infrastructure building. I mean, I don't know where they're coming up with the money. We were complaining about Obamacare. What they want to do with the infrastructure is even more. They're spending trillions of dollars faster than I actually spending a single dollar. But it's not for you. They're not doing it for your benefit. The politicians are not doing this for your well-being. They're doing so to show you how great they are. So by doing so, you will develop awe towards them, and they would be able to push their agenda on you, and you'll become passive. In other words, Rabotai, brainwashing exists everywhere, not only in North Korea. That is a type of brainwashing. And that was the intent of Nimrod and his generation to build the Tower of Babel. We're going to take down Babylon. So then what came God, and it says, okay, Moshe Shalom said, hey, that's it. Took the whole building out, spread them out all over the world, and that was it. But if you look, and I told you this many times, history does not repeat itself because people's situations are different. Patterns repeat themselves. And the patterns that happen in the time of the Tower of Babel happens today. And we need therefore to analyze the pattern to see what we would have done and then apply it to our lives today and actually do it. So it says also in our days, wisdom and knowledge reaches new heights. The amount of information that we have and knowledge that we have is amazing. And that could make men very, very important. And by doing so, elevating men, humans, basically reducing the value of God in the world. It's funny, there was a huge meteor that was coming into the earth, almost hit us in a direct hit. NASA missed it. They just realized it's coming when it was already too late. With all these computers, and you know, I would fire everybody at NASA, or I would just say, well, I would not fire them. I would just, what? Recently. Yeah, recently, yeah. Or I would just say, hey, listen, guys, don't worry about it. We only human. It's okay. He came out of nowhere. But how do you? What's the? By the way, you want some Scottish Snapple? Your brother says he's going to come today. Told him he's going to bring some bourbon. So how do you, what's the antidote for that? Look at creation. Look at creation. And when you look at creation, you see really how small we are, and how is the ruling of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is limitless, endless ability. The more you look into nature, the more you realize how great God is. And that's amazing. That's why I told you, I get more excited seeing a tall mountain than even a taller building. People go to the Burj Khalifa in Dubai or whatever the place is to look at a building. I would not go there, but I'm going to see a building. I would like to see a mountain. By the way, fall foliage is at full swing, so maybe next week, one day, you can take off a day off from all your busy schedules. You too, Mr. Overlander. Yeah, Zalman. Kattenson. And come with us on a trip. Maybe Tuesday. Take a day off. So, and that's what David HaMelech says. Ki yireh shamecha ma'aseh etzbeotecha. I would see your heavens, the labor of your fingers. Yareach ve'kochavim asher konanta. Moon and the stars in which you had established. Ma enosh ki tizkarenu uven adam ki tivkedenu. What is a man that you will remember we're so insignificant? Hashem is our master. God is our master. Ma'adir shimcha b'chol haaretz. How great and awesome your name is all over the universe. You think you're so important, you're so powerful. Hey guys, let me tell you. 30 seconds out of to put you 6 feet under, everybody forgot about you. That should be a freeing, a redeeming thought. To really concentrate on what you need to concentrate. And don't waste your time on nonsense. And internships and all kind of other nonsense. Right, Z? You work for free now. Yeah. Anyway, by the way, as I told you, when they go up to Shamayim, the first question they ask you is Kavata itim la Torah. First question. You set aside time to learn Torah. Even 1 hour will be that. Second question, I don't know. I went through all the questions. I didn't come up yet with a question asking, did you get a PhD? I looked into it. I think they would ask you before, did you get a black belt? Before they ask you to get a PhD. Most of the people get PhD for their own name. That's that. Dr. Z. Anyway. So, then what happened was, which is even more perplexing. So they built a big building. And it says, Vayaret Hashem, and Hashem went down, and God went down to see the city. You know, we lived that city, we built that city on dust and stone, on rock and roll, right? You know the song? We built that city. Oh, guys, you're too young. A guy your age should not know the songs. Anyway, the Sforno said, שנאמר וירד השם לראות, and God went down to see, שאין הקדוש ברוך הוא מסתכל רק על המעשה. God does not just look on the action or determines the action, but גם על התוצאה, but also the result. And that's important. And what the Sforno is saying, as the Rav Steinbuch says, it was Ikar Yesod ve'Ikar Gadol. That's a main principle in how you should conduct yourself. וכיוון דמי שאינו מחנך בניו כראוי, a person who does not educate his children appropriately, creates damage until the end of the time. All generations. Because that mistake will be carried over. You don't understand what I'm saying? Not a problem. If you ever did algebra, if you made a mistake at the beginning, that mistake will be carried over all the way to the end, and then you be wrong. Wrong. I'm appreciating math more and more and more as I'm getting older. Math, not methane, yeah? Math is the thing. It's amazing. It says, mitzvah goreret mitzvah. No, you done? Avera goreret avera. One good deed carries another good deed, and a bad one brings about another bad one. How is this possible? So I remember in the early 2000s, came up with the law of attraction, the secret, the law of attraction, the key to success. Well, it's not a big deal. Every guy who went to Yeshiva and learned a little bit knows that. Mitzvah goreret mitzvah, ve'avera goreret avera. How is this possible? I'm going to tell you very simple. Life is one big algorithms. If you're going to go on Instagram and you're going to pick something, I don't know, let's think about something yet rare and amazing. Zaman, what do you think? What?
Think of a couple of cars.
Let's hit about overlanding. You're going to hit one overlanding after the other, and then two cars. Good. You're gonna do press love, whatever it is. You know, the heart on GX 470, the Beast, or you're gonna go on Willis Wagon. Every one after the other. Before you know, every time you open your Instagram, you're gonna have only those things. Life is an algorithm. Whatever you do, you bring about more. Think about that button that you press like, or the thing that you send a little heart on your Instagram. By the way, all those who watch us on Instagram, please, I want to see likes and loves and kisses and all that stuff, yes. So what you do, you bring about. That's the law of attraction. You do good things, good things will come. You do bad things will come. I yet to see a person who was a thief and ended up to be a righteous man. Became a, I didn't say get into a position of power. I said a righteous man. And I didn't see yet, I don't know, a head of a mafia, a killer, that became a biggest tzaddik out of his actions. That's the way it works. Now, if you want to be successful, good things. Do good things. Why is that? It's very simple. Very simple. This world was created out of the kindness and the grace of God. It was a good thing that God wanted to do by creating the world. Lehetiv im kol buruav. To do good with all its creations. So the act of creating the world was a good act. When you do good things, you are so-called tapping yourself into the original thought and the original energy of this world. You're doing the most natural thing that you could do in your life. That's how the world was created, out of good things, out of kindness. When you do bad things, you're going against nature, against the nature of this world, nature of creation. You're going to fail. You're going to fail. And that's a very important thing, as the Sforno said, in understanding the world. It's not just the action, it's also the result and the thought behind it. So he says here, a person that had an ability to act, to help an individual, to help the tzibur, a group of people, and he prevented himself from doing so, since they sinned, is on him. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid in opening your mouth nicely and truthfully and say what you need to do or what you need to say. Don't wait for somebody else to do so. Don't run away. Say it. Otherwise, it's on you as well. You're guilty. So all the nations in World War II that did not go against the Nazis are just as guilty as the Nazis. So, and therefore he's going to be punished also about the future. Not only in the present, he's going to be punished in the future as well. And that's why it's a good thing to bring people closer to Hashem, and so on and so forth, closer to God, closer to keeping Torah and mitzvot. When you do so, all mitzvot in the future that this person and his descendants did, it's only because of you. It's a big mitzvah to do. We call it like Hashavat Avedah, returning a lost item to its owner. And don't forget, you don't do it for yourself. This is not for you to get for yourself. You do it, I mean, this is almost like a samurai concept. We are here to serve God. Our job is to serve God, not to serve in order to get a reward. If you were a real samurai, argument's sake, you would not expect a reward from your master for doing great things. This is what you are expected to do. The reward is that you got an ability to serve. Do you appreciate the fact that you got an ability to serve God, or you're running away from it? That will make you one lousy samurai. And a samurai who betrayed the trust that was given to him and disgraced his master is expected to take on his own life. So says the Gemara, Mutav lo shenehepcha shilyato al panav. A person who disgraces God, better off is his placenta would turn off and choke him. Tell me, but that's not a nice thing to do. That's not a nice thing to say. It is also very horrible to act like that. If you cannot be grateful to God that gave you all these things, you cannot be grateful to anybody. You are a hypocrite. When you tell somebody, oh, thank you, I appreciate you, are a hypocrite. That's what they did. The generation of the Tower of Babel, that's what they did. So, however, it says in the Pasuk, the verse says, Hen am echad v'safa achat lekulam. They have one language. They all spoke one language. And if they're going to start with that, nothing can stop them. And it's amazing. What does it mean? So the meaning of this pasuk, since they have a unity, pay attention, unity, to build a tower as a raft, as a refuge from another flood that might come, nothing could stop them to do whatever they wanted. Why? Because unity is the ultimate tool to get whatever you want to be done, to get it done.
So why does he say everyone keeps Shabbat?
Absolutely. Exactly it. Very good. Exactly it. And if you want to know why we suffer because we are not united. We need to bring about the Word of God into this world by showing an example, first of all. What did Haman say about us in Megillat Esther? Yesh Am Echad, right? There's one nation that is spread out, and and it's the most ununited nation in the world. That's our downfall. So now look what it says here. It's amazing. It says, based on the Zohar, the Zohar leads mamash great musar from this pasuk, and it says, "Anan chevraya demit'askin beoraita ve'anan beliba chad ve'reuta chad al kama ve'kama." That if we would united, willingly united, we'll speak on the same language. In other words, guys, no Yiddish, no I don't know Uzbeki, nothing. One language, Ivrit, Lashon HaKodesh. With one language, with one heart. If they were able to act bad, lo yivatzer mehem kol asher zamemu la'asot, nothing could stand in the way. Al achat kama v'chama, even more so. How much power and ability to execute those who do Torah and mitzvot, when they are going to get united and they're going to join forces together. When I tell you that ultimately it's all our fault, that's what I meant all the time. We need to be united. And it starts with the individual, goes to the rabbis in shul. They should not seem to, argument's sake. Let's say you have a yeshiva. This guy opened a elementary school. So, if I am a rabbi of a different synagogue, I should encourage people to send children to his school. I should not be motivated to open my own school to take kids away from his school because he opened that. As we often see. I'll just speak to you later on. That's not how we do things. It's on us. This is a great lesson to us to unite and to act for the sake of the Holy Torah. Because the power of two people working together is not the same as two people working as two individuals. And even more so when there are many people who are joined forces together to act and to do, they are able to achieve great things. That's what they say, if Am Yisrael is united, en umma sheyechola la'amod bifnehem, ve'ish lo amad lifnehem, ve'ish lo amad bifnehem. When they were united in Esther, look what happened. It's a big musar for us. When it comes to people who separate us, for that the pasuk says, "Uve'arta hara mikirbecha." So take away those people away from you, and including your telephones. Telephone is bad, right? You're sure?
Recording with the Rebbe son.
I'm just saying, right? How is it in your class, right? What do people do? Right? He said shh, like this. He said like that. Right? You can't even say to somebody. I'm not talking about this. Go to a person. Don't send them, "Hello, how are you?" Go to him. Show him that you care. This telephone, you think bring people together? Does it put people apart? You really care about somebody? Come to his house, knock on the door. Listen, I'm not coming in. Don't come in. No, I'm not coming in. Just want to say Shabbat Shalom. Don't send them a text. There's some people who are far. Send them a text. At least they exist. Acknowledge. Do something together. It's horrific what we're doing. Horrific. When it comes to interpersonal relationship, take the telephone, put it to the side. Don't deal with it. Spend some time with your friend. Take him to a cup of coffee. Hey, sit down. Let's go for a cup of coffee. Let's have a drink together. I mean, all of you are lucky guys. You all have houses and backyards. So why don't you get a fire pit and be like a real man? First time I see Zalman sleeping in Shio. Right? And don't sit there by your lonesome. Call your friend or two. Hey, Motzai Shabbat, sit down together in a fire pit. You want to come over for a little drink? Have some cigars, have some drinks, sit down together. All of a sudden, you don't feel lonely. Next time something happens, you're able to go. You go up together. You know, demonstrate. You have ability, you have koach. You're going to ask yourself, how is it possible that in America all these dingbats are coming out, rising out of like cockroaches out of the woodwork? What happened? What happened? Very simple. You create a vacuum. You all fell asleep. You created a vacuum. They came out of the woodwork. You take the most fancy house, just built, close it, don't allow people in. Few years, the house is falling apart. It's just built, falling apart. Take a house, people live in the house. 200 years, the house still stands. That's exactly what happens. Telephones, social media, all these things pull people apart. When they pull people apart, all the rats are coming out and then take over your brains because you feel lonely. But if you invite your friend for Motzai Shabbat fire pit, you already feel like you are not alone. That's how we create unity. Unity is created by caring, by showing the other person that he's important, not by sending text. Here, Ari did something very nice. Bless him for that. All the guys in Yeshiva who are married should, and that's a rabbinical order, get together and call Ari and says, yes, I'm interested in doing that. Let your wives also come together, sit down together. Why? Because it's going to be hard for you throughout lives. And mommy and daddy are not always there, and mommy and daddy should not be involved with everything in your life. You need friends. If you're not doing that, you're wrong. And then you call all the guys also. Tell them I said that they should get together. All those who are married. Now, and so the question is, how is it possible? How is it possible? What started this whole thing that the people became bad? And Chazal tells us being cruel. Cruelty. And cruelty comes, first of all, from not caring. So I'm not going to make you cruel, first of all. First of all, I'm going to make you not care. Let me ask you a question. When you see some injustice happening to a black person in the street, do you care? Do you see some injustice happen to some Oriental guy that gets beat up in the street? Do you care? Or you care only for your people? Or you care only for your family? Or the bottom line is, do you only care about yourself? Injustice is injustice. And it doesn't make a difference if it's for you, or for somebody different than you, or far away from you, or somebody you don't know. Injustice is injustice. Because guess what? When the injustice is going to happen to you, nobody would care either. Stop caring. Stop caring. Now, it says about that generation, or Dora Palaga Mishum Muflagim, that God will spread them all over the earth. And we need to know what was the great level or great thing about this generation, that we said over there that it was so weird that they reached a state that Reshaim Tov Laim Ba'olam Hazeh. What was so special about this generation? And it says the ma'ala of that they had unity even for idol worship. Now listen to this. Isn't it better that they will be separated and not together, become heretics? He says the Tam Tov says, it seems like the Dor HaPalaga ayu kufrim bedeotehem. They were heretics. They did not believe in their opinions. However, they were not corrupt in the ways, in the qualities. Even though the kfirah, being heretic, is very bad, in any case, you can always fix it. I'm going to explain to you. I have a guy in, I don't know where he is right now in terms of WhatsApp and all this thing. I mean, YouTube, what do you call this thing? But I would recommend to you to follow him because I bless him. His name is Rabbi Brian Bornstein. Remember him, Yitzchak? And he's the kind of guy that I'm at absolute awe at how much this guy is already a rabbi, was able to achieve and to do, and his success is because he cares. He was fighting missionaries, he was caring, doing kiruv. I'm absolutely amazed by this guy. And I listened to his shiur that he sent me. I'll tell you, sweet, excellent. If you want, I'll put it also on the yeshiva thing, something that he sent me. Really amazing. It's a guy like you. Guy like you. All you need to do is care. It's amazing how much siyata d'shamayim, how much help you're going to have, but just caring. He's amazing. I'm so proud of this guy. I have no words to tell you how proud I am of him. I mean, amazing. So it says, there is a tikkun. However, hashchata, destruction of midot, of your qualities, of the way you do things, becomes a nature to you, becomes a natural thing to you, and that could not be repaired. When the habits that you have are bad, cannot be repaired. He was able to turn a whole messianic congregation into a Noachites. They were good people. They were thinking wrong. But if your actions are bad, he can't fix you. And that's exactly what happens then and what happens now. It says, in Dora Mabul, Chazal tells us, in Dora Mabul, the generation of the flood, the people were so corrupt in their actions, and therefore they could not even unite one with the other. Just like we have today. However, Dora Palaga, the generation of the Tower of Babel, were not corrupted in the ways. That's why they were able to unite. And even though that unity in wicked people is without any bracha, without any blessing, without any benefit, however, it's an indication that they are not corrupted in the ways, and that's why they were not deemed to be wiped out like the generation of the flood, but rather they were spread out and spared by being spread up all over the world. I'm going to tell you that. Maybe it's something for us to learn also, why we are not united. Maybe we should change our ways before it becomes second nature to us. And that's why I said to you, start with caring. Don't be selfish. Smile. Greet somebody. You walk in the street. You don't care if you know the person or not. Create a bubble of good energy. Greet the person. That's something that I learned from this guy, Rabbi Brian. That's amazing. I told you this. He used to come to my house on Shabbat. I used to go with him to shul. He's from California, from LA. You know, sees a guy in the street, big smile on his face, natural, real smile. How are you? Good morning. People look, huh? And I said, wow, that's amazing. I was observing that. And I tell you that. I adopted that behavior. The thing. I say hello. And it's amazing. All of a sudden I have friends here all over half of the Chinese people here are my friends. Right, Sam? Just say hi to people. Good morning, how you doing? But the fact that he's a different color than you, or his eyes at a different angle, you should make a difference to you. We're all people. That's why Judaism is not, is beautiful, because it accepts people for their internal, not the external. And we should remember that. So if you segregate, it means your ways are bad. You're not able to see the divine spark in that human, whether he's a Jew or Gentile, that's standing in front of you. The problem is not with him. The problem is with you. But we should fix our ways. And it says, he says here, V'yesh lilmod mikam, we should learn from here, Godel hapgam de'ashchatat amidot. How bad it is to have bad manners, bad ways. And when nature is corrupted, it is impossible to fix it. And in the generation of the flood, there was no way to fix. That's why they had to be wiped out. Now, if you go back to the words in the Gemara, when the Talmidim asks the rabbi, what should we be saved at the end of times from the eternal war, the end war? He says to them, Torah ugemilut chasadim. Torah will teach you the right way. Only Torah will teach you the right way. And gemilut chasadim, doing act of kindness, will translate it into an action. You want to be saved? That's what you do. Shabbat shalom.